Other interesting cultural news, you have Harley Davidson claiming they will back off DEI after weeks of being boycotted, made fun of for completely misunderstanding the customers with their relatively new CEO, who decided to be a good idea to go all in on the DEI for their hiring, for their recruiting, for their sponsorships of events. And they realized, oh yeah, who's the average person who buys a Harley Davidson on average? Yeah, probably people who are more middle, maybe politically alienated, and then I would say arguably more often on the right. I'm not saying there's zero leftists who drive a Harley with their blue hair and cow rings, but I think it's 1% of their sales. Now, they do have a very politically, buttoned up, and I'll give them credit. They let the comments open. That's pretty brave considering they've been pretty tyrannical, locking down all the comments for weeks. They know they're going to get roasted. Spoiler alert, they did. Now, Harley, before this newsletter, says, quote, "We remain committed to listening to all members of our community as we continue our journey as one Harley Davidson. United, we ride." And here's the fun letter, which I'll go ahead and I'll read that for it. Oh. Zoom in a little bit here. Unfortunately, I don't know the CEO's accent, so it'll be just my voice or my accent. Maybe you can guess where from the Midwest or South it's from. Now, he says, quote, "For over 120 years, Harley Davidson has brought the joy of motorcycling to riders around the world, no matter who they are, where they are from, or what they believe in. We have a guiding principle, united we ride. It defines how we run our business, treat people, and underscores our commitment to welcoming all." Except white guys. I made up that last part, but based on hiring practices and all that kind of stuff, kind of inevitable by the policy, and I agree with it, obviously. He continued saying, quote, we are saddened by the negativity on social media over the last few weeks designed to divide the Harley Davidson community." Let me stop right there. Well, really didn't divide the community. They were pretty unified, actually. If anything, I would actually give Harley Davidson credit for unifying the whole community against them. Very similar to the Bite Light phenomenon. Or actually, no, I'd venture to say even more uniting in that instance, since, I mean, the consensus was basically screw Harley Davidson. With people hating the brand so much, they covered up the logo on their bikes, which is the biggest FU to any manufacturer ever. If you're covering up that little logo that, again, they spent well over 100 years actually fighting to really make that logo stand the test of time, and then there's people that's covering up with electrical tape. And even some people destroying their own Harley bikes and even just removing it with a rudimentary crowbar or something, little pry bar. That's how bad this backlash was. I mean, at Sturgis, they were completely ghosted. Like, the only people in the booth at Sturgis were the people who had the displeasure or the unfortunate experience of working at Harley. Now, go back to his words, or probably more accurately, the publicist and 18 people working on this to make it as PC as possible. They say, quote, "We are saddened by the negativity on social media we've had over the last few weeks designed to divide Harley Davidson community. As a company, we take this issue very seriously and it is our responsibility to respect with clarity, actions, and facts. Earlier this year, we initiated an initial stakeholder review to better align company activities to the needs of both our business and the community. Based on our review, we are committed to the following." Allegedly. I added that last part. They say, quote, "Diversity, equity, and inclusion. We see it as each leader's role to ensure we have an employee base that reflects our customers and the geographies in which we operate. It is critical to our business that we hire and retain the best talent and that all employees feel welcome." Let me just stop that right there. Well, if you're hiring people based on quota or by things they can't control, and you're limiting the number of resumes, you will inherently not have the best talent. The best talent always comes when you receive every single application, every single resume, and you choose the best people based on their qualifications. I partially digress. It continues to say, quote, "It is critical to our business that we hire best talent and they feel welcome. That said, we have not operated a DEI function since April 2024, and we do not have a DEI function today. We do not have hiring quotas, and we no longer have supplier diversity spending goals." Allegedly. I add that last part. They should quote, the second bullet point, "Business employee resource groups, BERGs," which I want to say it's a Star Galactica thing. I don't know. This quote, "To ensure alignment of our BERGs with the business moving forward, we will provide executive management to each group to exclusively focus on professional development, networking, and mentoring. Sponsorships and affiliations," another big one because they were sponsoring Pride Parades, which, again, in the past, interestingly enough, there's a point in U.S. history, and culturally speaking, when a pride parade was very controversial, and slowly became less controversial, and then slowly they decided to wear less and less clothing and involve children, which that has caused it to become much more controversial in modern cultural times in the United States, with some instances where they actually have full-grown naked adults in front of children. And disappointingly enough, from a cultural and political perspective, the police acquiesce and do nothing because they're cowards. They don't want to enforce actual law because they're worried about being labeled as hateful or something ridiculous. Nevertheless, back to this bullet point, they say sponsorships and affiliations. We are reviewing all sponsorship and organizations we are affiliated with. Actions stemming from that ongoing review include all sponsorship activities will now be centrally approved and managed efforts through the company or Harley Davidson Foundation. As a consumer brand, we will focus exclusively on growing the sport of motorcycling and retaining our loyal riding community. In addition to the support we already provide to the first responders, active military members, and veterans, the Harley Davidson Foundation is committed to driving positive change in Milwaukee, such as through the recently unveiled the Davidson Park at our Junia Avenue headquarters. Harley Davidson will not participate in HRC score going forward. Almost done, I promise. Employee training. The company continues to evaluate its training opportunities to ensure they are right for the workforce. Training provided will be related to the needs of the business and absent of social motivated content. Good. Oh, now they have asterisks. Only legally required training has ever been mandatory at Harley Davidson. We believe having both a broad employee and customer base is good for the business, and that ultimately everyone should experience the joy of riding a Harley Davidson. We remain committed to listening to all members of the community as we focus on continuing to move our journey forward as the most desirable motorcycle brand in the world. United, we ride. Which, most desired brand in the world? I mean, maybe. I don't know. When I was a kid, I always wanted, maybe it's kind of cliche, but didn't everyone have the green Kawasaki toy with the Kawasaki Ninja? Or is that just me? Or in the Matrix, you also have the iconic product placement of the Ducati, which is fancy Italian motorcycle. That's a lot of fun. But no, I do have a couple friends where, I mean, there's that one point where I kind of said if I won the lottery, I might get the Harley Iron 883. I don't even know if they make it anymore. That'd be a fun little toy to have. Now, this one pretty well got 2 million views, but only 6.6 thousand likes. And which, again, I mean, it's good, overall good messaging, but what will execution be like? What will it be done in practice? Now, one of the top comments comes from Cat Turd, who said, quote, "You literally shit on the people who got you there, GFY, getting 18,000 likes." Which, again, is one of those things where if you want the companies to have a path forward, I understand the debate in terms of the boycott, but if they truly stick to these actions, I would argue you would actually want to reward them with sales to show them that those customers are still there and that they're rewarding their action. Again, the company's addressed the main issue, the elephant in the room. Should they admit? I mean, the new CEO is foolish to do this, obviously, because they didn't understand the core customers. They were not aligning with their values. And they certainly weren't increasing their sales with those initiatives either. So it'll be interesting. I'm not sure what the percentage will be. I actually venture to say I don't think the sales drop will be half as bad as Bud Light. Again, Bud Light is a very easily replaceable product in terms of the competition is literally inches away in the store refrigerators. I mean, motorcycles, don't get me wrong, there is competition, but in terms of the number of competition, I mean, what is there? You have the Indian brand, you have Yamaha, which makes great keyboards as well, Kawasaki, but I don't think they make like the loud, obnoxious luxury ones that Harley's known for. Yeah. Maybe let me know in the comments. Again, I'm not a motorcycle aficionado. I appreciate them. I mean, anything that goes fast and is a manual transmission, I'm a fan of. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I think because there's less options and there's such... let me know. I don't think it'll be bad as Bud Light with their sales drop. But again, if you think differently, let me know. Robbie Starbucks says, quote, "We've done it again." And he is the Grim Reaper knocking on the doors. The first one was DEI at Tractor Supply, Wokeness at John Deere, DEI at Harley Davidson. And he's knocking on the door, says the new woke company. Which again, I mean, those companies did listen to the customers after this is brought to the forefront and everyone started to realize it, where many of them did, say, hey, we realigned our goals. Now, again, what will happen in execution? That's where, of course, as I sometimes cliche say, that's where time shall really tell. Now, that little caricature got 6.8 thousand likes. And Robbie was a gentleman who keeps breaking all these stories. All right, I'm already following him. Good. Paul Zupa says, quote, your wokeness will make Harley Davidson go bankrupt, getting 2.2 thousand likes. I think it's also the customers are, trying to think of a polite way to say this, their customers are passing away at a very high rate because on average, more elderly people buy Harley Davidsons. Their brand really peaked years ago. That's why they've been trying to reinvigorate it. They had an EV division, which they spun off, and now they're trying their own EV again because they think that'll bring in new sales. I mean, I don't think the formula is too complex. Just make a cheap, reliable product and make it look a little bit more modern. Again, you definitely want to have the option for the kind of cliche big, loud Harleys that are very luxurious and cost as much as a car, but can't hurt to have a little bit different products in the portfolio. Garther Eagleman also says, quote, go woke, go ruck, getting 7.6 thousand likes. Rusty Shackleford, A+ for name, says DEI is not about unity, it is about picking unqualified people over qualified people based on physical characteristics rather than merit, getting 2.6 thousand likes. Philip Anderson says, F off, you betrayed your customers and went woke, getting 1.5 thousand likes. We also have Best Decade Ever saying, this is not the CEO's heart. This was written by PR, hoping that they will blow over in time and the CEO can go back to woke policies. Until Harley Davidson gets rid of their anti-American globalist CEO, we know nothing will change. Getting 3.8 thousand likes. Good point. Adrian Curry says, it's as if you have no clue who your customers are. Replace your Marxist CEO, getting 2.3 thousand likes. Not the B says, this is nowhere near enough action. You're rotting from the inside and no, everyone can see it except you, getting 2.4 thousand likes. The Dark Knight says, the CEO remains. You aren't serious, so we don't care what you have to say, getting 1.1 thousand likes. John Strickland also says, until your CEO goes, Harley is dead. Don't buy their Harleys until the CEO is gone. Getting 4.4, let's make it 4. Oh, we're going to see if we can make it 4.5 thousand. Not enough. Andy Zor says, Bud Light called, said hello, getting 3.5 thousand likes. Ida Frunk says, not good enough. Replace the CEO and the board. Until then, buy Indian, getting 4,000 likes. Which, yeah, that's a good point. The board of directors hold a lot of power, and there's no way any of these initiatives happen without them knowing about it. And of course, the CEO does have a track record of being very much of a leftist or globalist. Military Arms says, until the CEO is gone, I will not buy another Harley Davidson motorcycle. My next bike will be an Indian, getting 7,000 likes. I mean, this might be a very fascinating phenomenon called the Chris Christie effect, which is pretty rare. It's an instance where it's only happened twice, where I was following Chris Christie when he was running for Republican nominee. We had 2 times where no one said anything positive in the comments when he posted something on X Twitter, which is statistically nearly impossible because one would suppose that Chris Christie would have, family, friends, allegedly campaign staff, and yet they couldn't be bothered to actually, say something nice about his post. So I was going to say, we very rarely see a CEO get pushed out in corporate America. I mean, I can count, past 10 years, how many times has that realistically happened when there's a big PR instance? I know people could say it was just sales. I think that was a component of why the previous Starbucks CEO was pushed out into the CEO of Chipotle coming over to that company. They got involved in politics. They got a lot of protests going on, in addition to decreasing sales. But is this enough for Harley? Okay, because their sales cycle much more expensive and longer than coffee. But is this a big enough event to actually get to the board concerned? Because again, don't forget, biggest shareholders of Harley, very similar to a lot of these other companies, BlackRock. Geez Louise. I was going to say, if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. I have a theory. When I first started the show, no subscribers, and yet my speaking was even worse than it is today. Spoke very fast, mostly monotone, and mispronounced darn near every other word. But as I've gained more and more subscribers, I've slowly but surely become more articulate in my speaking, leading to my theory that the more subscribers I get, the better my speaking abilities will become. Which, my goal of having one day go through a whole episode without a single speaking blunder, a tall task, or tall order, tall wish, some might say, but if you can click that button and fuel that theory, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, when it comes to Harley Davidson, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe by the time I upload this video and render it, they'll oust the CEO and replace it with someone else. But I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical to say the least. But let me know in the comments. Do you think the boycott will actually stop because of this PR statement? Do you think people will forgive them, or do you think there's nothing they can do to salvage their sales? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leave me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback. letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.